Before we cross into the unknown, leave a hello in the comments. Even the smallest signal can ripple across galaxies, guiding fellow wanderers to this tale. Let me know you're out there. A voice among the stars, listening with me beyond the veil. Engines roared as the last fleet of humanity ascended from the ice-choked caverns beneath Antarctica. I, Admiral Kalen Vare, felt the vibration through my bones as if the Earth itself begged us not to leave. The Senate had erased us, scrubbed every star chart clean, but their silence could not erase our blood. Today, our fleet awakened a slumbering relic buried since before the fall of nations. The ship's black hull shimmered against auroras, its design alien yet hauntingly human. It was not built by hands alone. It was born of something older. When its core came online, the galaxy itself seemed to tremble. Energy signatures rippled across space, loud enough to echo into hostile sensors. The ship was more than a vessel. It was a declaration. My officers watched readouts scroll beyond comprehension. Weaponry coded in forgotten dialects, shields interwoven with quantum lattice. The crew whispered a single truth. This ship was our resurrection. But I knew the Senate would not see rebirth. They would see rebellion. I ordered the fleet into formation. If the galaxy had forgotten us, then let them remember in fire. Captain Rin Arak reporting. As we ascended, encrypted broadcasts from deep space confirmed our fears. The Senate had already issued denouncements. Humanity is a myth, a fabrication. They would paint us liars, insurgents, pretenders. Yet the relic warship hanging above the ice made their propaganda hollow. Its name flickered across internal panels, Eidolon, a ghost given form. The name alone unsettled even hardened officers. Who had christened it? Was it us, or something before us? We boarded in squads, corridors lit by phosphorescent veins of energy. The Eidolon was alive, responsive, anticipating our steps. Systems integrated with our biometrics as if waiting for us all along. I felt the hum in my veins, a synchronization too precise to be an accident. But as we reached the command chamber, we found something stranger still. A sealed archive pulsing faint light. Its symbols shifted, almost resisting translation. My science officer whispered, "This ship remembers." My gut twisted, because memory meant truth, and truth was what the Senate feared most. Commander Solus here. I was the first to step into the Eidolon's heart. Its core chamber pulsed like a star contained within crystal lattices. My visor dimmed automatically. The brightness burned through layers of shielding. Strange glyphs spiraled in fractal loops around the core, mapping histories erased from every archive. I reached out. Sensors showed no heat, no radiation, yet it responded to my presence. It knew us, and that frightened me more than any enemy fleet. The science teams decoded fragments. Wars fought before the Senate's birth. Empires shattered by human hands. If these records were real, humanity had once shaped the stars themselves. Yet why had we fallen? Why had we been erased? My XO's voice cracked over comms. "Commander, the core is broadcasting." I turned sharply. To whom? Silence, then dread. The answer was obvious. To everyone. The Eidolon wasn't hiding. It was announcing humanity's return. Admiral Vare again. The first Senate fleets appeared on our scopes within hours. Their formations were precise, gleaming with arrogance. They hailed us with words drenched in contempt. "Vacate that relic. You are trespassers on forgotten soil." My bridge fell silent. Forgotten soil. Our Earth. Rage boiled within me. They had erased us from the stars, and now they sought to erase us again. I ordered the Eidolon's systems tested. Its weapons hummed, unfamiliar yet ready. Our frigates formed a perimeter, but the Senate fleet was vast. Still, when their commander transmitted threats, I answered calmly. We are humanity, not trespassers. This world is ours, and the galaxy will know it again. I cut the channel. The crew held their breath. The silence that followed was more terrifying than their threats, for silence meant they were preparing to strike. The Senate moved first. Beams of searing plasma tore into the ice fields, vaporizing entire glaciers. Shockwaves battered our frigates. Our fleet was outnumbered 20-1, yet I felt no fear, for the Eidolon moved. It was not piloted, it was awakened. Its hull realigned, sections unfolding into vast arrays of energy projectors. The ship's voice resonated through every comm channel, not mechanical but human, ancient and resolute. Designation confirmed, humanity restored. The first counterstrike split the void. A single lance of energy erupted from the Eidolon, slicing through the lead Senate dreadnought. Its hull ruptured, a silent sun blooming in orbit. My officers stared in disbelief. One shot, one kill, power beyond anything in known fleets. The Senate ships faltered, their discipline cracking, but victory carried a cost. Sensors screamed with warnings. The Eidolon's activation was drawing attention from far beyond the Senate. Something else was listening, something older than all of us. Commander Solus reporting. As the Senate fleet reeled, sensors detected anomalies beyond known space. Distortions, faint but deliberate, signals older than any galactic record. I felt a chill. The Eidolon's awakening had triggered more than mere alarms. We were not just reclaiming history. We were calling attention to entities that predated it. My crew whispered of legends, forgotten gods of energy and war. Their eyes darted to the core, which pulsed like a heartbeat, matching the cadence of my own. I relayed orders to deploy reconnaissance drones. Streams of light pierced the darkness, revealing shapes that warped reality itself, shapes that dwarfed our understanding of size and time. One vessel shimmered into focus, massive yet partially intangible, as if woven from light and shadow. My heart sank. The Senate fleet might be merely the beginning. I knew then that the galaxy had been quiet, not empty. And now our return had awakened something far older and far angrier. Admiral Vare again. We returned to Antarctica, seeking counsel with the few surviving human archivists hidden beneath glaciers. Their vaults contained fragments of knowledge erased from the cosmos. Star maps, weapon schematics, diplomatic records. As I scanned the archives, I realized the scale of our disappearance. Humanity had once been a silent architect of empires, a ghost whose hand had shaped entire star systems. And yet, the Senate believed we were myth. The archivists spoke urgently. The Eidolon is not merely a ship, it is a sentinel, a beacon. Others will come. My mind raced. Could we control it, or were we already caught in a plan older than our species? Outside, auroras danced across the Antarctic sky, echoing the patterns of the Eidolon's energy core. I left the vault with heavy steps. History had awakened, and the galaxy's shadows were stirring in response. Captain Rin Arak reporting. The Senate's fleets reorganized, desperate to corral our forces. Yet the Eidolon moved with precision no human hand could replicate, weaving through their formations and leaving trails of controlled chaos. Communication channels buzzed with panic. "How is this possible?" officers asked. I only shook my head. This was not a strategy. This was instinct, ancient, lethal, and terrifying. The Eidolon's core pulsed, casting an eerie light across the bridge. Then, a message, unbidden. A projection of a figure shimmering, non-human yet familiar, spoke without sound, yet meaning filled every mind. Humanity's claim is overdue. Prepare, for those who slept are rising. My stomach dropped. Whoever or whatever had left this message, it wasn't alone. And now, the galaxy would wake to the echoes of forgotten wars. Commander Solus again. Not all Senate factions were united. Sub-fleets hesitated. some even questioning orders to attack. We intercepted encrypted communications, senators arguing about evacuations, about the existence of humanity. I realized the Eidolon's emergence had sown doubt as well as fear. Yet this fractured discipline only delayed the inevitable. I ordered our fleet to exploit the chaos. Skirmishes erupted near the outer rings. Frigates darted through plasma fire while the Eidolon unleashed its full arsenal. Shields shimmered and collapsed under exotic energy forms. I could feel the thrill of battle, and the terror. We were outnumbered, yet every strike felt precise, almost prescient. My XO muttered, "This ship, it fights like it remembers." I nodded silently. We were not just surviving. We were reclaiming, and the galaxy would never forget humanity again. Admiral Vare. As the last Senate dreadnoughts fell, a rift tore through space, a wound in reality itself. Sensors screamed, light bent and twisted in impossible ways. From it emerged vessels unlike anything recorded. Crystalline hulls, impossibly large, shifting geometry, radiating raw power. The Eidolon responded instantly, adjusting its shields, weapons, and energy fields as if anticipating the unknown. "Unknown fleet approaching," my comms officer gasped. I gritted my teeth. Humanity had returned, but now we faced beings who had watched, waited, and perhaps judged us before history began. I glanced at the crew, their faces pale but resolute. "Steady," I commanded. "We fight, not for survival, but for remembrance." Humanity's return had begun, but the galaxy's oldest watchers were awake. Commander Solus reporting. The Rift's vessels moved like living constellations, impossible geometries folding around our sensors. The Eidolon responded as if it anticipated every move, energy fields cascading in synchronized harmony with our fleet. My crew struggled to comprehend the scale of power before us. These were not ships, they were titans, embodiments of forces older than the Senate itself. The first shots rang out, not with sound but with distortion of space itself. A crystalline hull warped light and reality around it, shattering our targeting systems. Yet the Eidolon's response was flawless, firing weapons that phased through dimensions, striking precise points no one could see. I whispered to my XO, "This ship, it isn't ours alone. It knows." Our survival depended not on numbers, but on awakening memories embedded in the ship's core. Memories older than humanity itself. Admiral Vare. We intercepted transmissions from distant sectors. Whispers of human legends, civilizations that claimed they had seen our fleets rise and vanish millennia ago. The Eidolon's archives were alive, projecting star maps, battles, and treaties erased from all known records. Every officer on my bridge felt a chill. Humanity's history was deeper, darker, and infinitely more influential than the Senate imagined. We traced signatures of ancient weapons, buried relics waiting for activation. The Eidolon interfaced with our technology, fusing forgotten human designs with alien engineering. Shields pulsed with quantum resonance, weapons recalibrated mid-battle with intuitive precision. We were no longer just fighting to survive, we were reclaiming our place as architects of the stars. And the galaxy was taking note, both friend and foe alike. Captain Rin A. Rack. A Senate frigate drifted oddly through the debris, systems failing as if sabotaged from within. Sensors revealed nothing mechanical. Then the truth emerged. The Eidolon was rewriting space around it, interfering with enemy subsystems without touching them. My crew gasped. This was more than warfare. This was the manipulation of reality itself, a capability no mortal had ever wielded. Enemy commanders panicked. Orders conflicted, formations broke apart. Yet the Rift vessels held their composure, shimmering as though immune to such interference. I realized the Eidolon's power was not absolute. We had awakened a force beyond our comprehension, one that could challenge even the ship's ancient memory. The battle had become a dance of titans, each side probing the other, calculating risks across scales of space and time we were only beginning to understand. Commander Solus. Scans revealed fragments of Earth scattered across alien worlds, outposts, colonies, and relics the Senate had erased. Symbols in the Eidolon's archives matched these fragments perfectly. It was as if the ship had never forgotten, keeping records even the Senate could not destroy. I felt awe and fury, our home, our story, erased yet preserved in the heart of a weapon. As we prepared to jump deeper into the rift, a Senate admiral attempted parley. His words dripped with fear and respect. Humanity, you were never meant to return. I allowed silence to answer. The Eidolon's core pulsed violently, projecting a holographic globe of Earth, shattered and whole simultaneously. The ship had made its choice. It would defend humanity, reclaim its history, and ensure the galaxy remembered. And I, as its commander, would not falter. Admiral Vare. The rift itself began to collapse in on our fleet, waves of gravitational distortion threatening to tear ships apart. The Eidolon's hull shimmered, adapting to forces that would have crushed ordinary vessels instantly. I could feel the weight of history pressing against every sensor, every decision. We were crossing thresholds that humanity had never crossed before. From the collapsing rift emerged the true enemy, a massive, singular entity radiating authority and annihilation, older than the Senate, older than any empire. Its voice was a resonance across space. Intruders, awaken what should have slept. The Eidolon's response was instant, shields flaring, weapons charging across dimensions. My crew braced for impact. Humanity had returned, but now the galaxy's oldest and most powerful watcher had taken notice. The first act of our true war was about to begin. Commander Solus. The entity struck without weapons. Its will alone bent space, collapsing our escorts into spheres of frozen time. Crews screamed over comms, their voices cut mid-sentence as if erased. I ordered evasive maneuvers, but the void itself turned hostile, currents dragging us toward annihilation. Fear clawed at my chest. We were not fighting a fleet. We were fighting the laws of reality themselves. The Eidolon flared, countering with waves of resonance that shattered the stasis fields. Frigates tumbled back into motion, damaged but alive. My officers stared at the displays in disbelief. The Eidolon was not resisting with brute force. It was rewriting the rules as well. A duel of realities had begun, and humanity was caught in its center. Admiral Vare. Our formation scattered as dimensional rifts tore through the battlefield. Some ships were split across timelines, their halves blinking in and out before collapsing into dust. Yet the Eidolon moved with purpose, guiding us along paths unseen. Its archives projected new star charts, showing routes not through space, but through probability itself. I made the call. Follow the Eidolon. Trust it. My officers obeyed, though doubt burned in their eyes. We threaded through collapsing zones, striking where the entity's influence weakened. For the first time, I saw hesitation ripple across its massive form. Perhaps even this ancient being did not anticipate resistance from the forgotten children of Earth. Captain Rin Arak. Amid the chaos, the Eidolon transmitted a signal deeper into the rift, a summons to something hidden. At first, I thought it reckless, but then fragments appeared. Silhouettes of other vessels, ancient and dormant, scattered like ruins in the abyss. Their designs bore human signatures. My blood ran cold. We had not been alone in history. Docking clamps engaged as if scripted. These derelicts stirred, their cores flickering awake in response to the Eidolon's call. My crew gasped as their hulls restructured, weapons humming with forgotten energy. Humanity had seeded a hidden fleet, long ago abandoned, or perhaps preserved for this very moment. Our myth was not a lie. It was a plan. Commander Solus. The ancient entity unleashed fury, fracturing the abyss with shockwaves that bent our resurrected fleet. Yet the newly awakened warships held formation, integrating instantly with the Eidolon's systems. Their captains, our ancestors, AI echoes, spoke in fragmented transmissions. Guardians of Earth, trial resumes. My skin prickled. We were fighting, but also being judged. I coordinated with their strange voices, aligning, firing solutions. Energy lances cut across the void, striking the entity's crystalline armor. For the first time, it recoiled. My bridge erupted in cheers, but I silenced them quickly. Victory was not near. This was only proof that the impossible could bleed. Admiral Vare. The entity's voice rolled through every ship, deeper than thought, vibrating our bones. Humanity persists. Humanity defies. Humanity returns. It was not a threat. It was a judgment. My heart pounded as the Eidolon's core pulsed in answer, brighter than ever, projecting Earth's shattered image across the abyss. Then came the silence. The entity withdrew, vanishing into its collapsing rift. What it left behind was worse than its presence, a void echoing with countless other signals, each as vast, each awakening. We had won the first battle, but the true war had only just begun. I looked upon my fleet, scarred, burning, yet alive. For the first time in millennia, humanity had declared itself to the stars, and the stars had answered. Admiral Vare. News of our survival spread like wildfire. Senate broadcasts grew desperate, contradicting themselves, first denying our existence, then labeling us as insurgents, then whispering that perhaps humanity had returned after all. Entire factions splintered, worlds questioning why their archives bore holes where our history should have been. Fear spread faster than truth. Reports reached us of Senate admirals refusing to engage, their fleets breaking ranks. Some worlds called us liberators, others cursed us as harbingers of extinction. I knew then our war was no longer just about survival, it was about perception. The Eidolon was not merely a weapon, it was a story, one powerful enough to tear empires apart. Commander Solus. A delegation of alien envoys requested parley near the asteroid citadel of Veiris. They were cautious, trembling as they spoke, but their words carried weight. We have fragments of your kind's legacy. We remember trade. We remember treaties. We were ordered to forget. My chest tightened. Proof. Our history lived in hidden corners. They offered relics, shards of human-forged alloys, data crystals encoded in ancient dialects. Each piece confirmed what the Senate had erased. These envoys were not allies yet, but their fear of the Senate outweighed their fear of us. I accepted their offer of dialogue. Humanity was no longer fighting alone. We were assembling a coalition. Captain Rin Arak. During transit, the Eidolon's core surged, projecting a voice across every ship. You are the heirs. You are the forgotten. You are the trial reborn. The bridge fell silent. The ship wasn't just reacting. It was speaking, directly and deliberately. I felt both awe and dread. Was it guiding us or using us? The voice continued, showing visions. Earth before its fall, fleets spanning starfields, wars against enemies I could not comprehend. My officers trembled. These weren't memories. They were warnings. The Eidolon had not been built to conquer. It had been built to judge. And now it was deciding whether we deserved its power. Admiral Vare. A Senate admiral defected, his fleet of destroyers jumping into our formation under white flags. His voice, strained with guilt, echoed across my comms. They lied to us. They erased you because they feared you. We will not serve tyrants who rewrite history. For the first time, Senate steel turned against its own masters. His intelligence confirmed what I had long suspected. The Senate itself had conspired with entities beyond the rift to bury humanity. We had not simply been erased by fear. We had been sacrificed. My blood ran cold. The Senate was not a government. It was a prison, and now its walls were cracking. Commander Solus. In the quiet after our victories, I studied the Eidolon's archives. Something gnawed at me. Too much precision, too much foresight. It hadn't just been waiting for us, it had shaped us. Genetic codes in our crew matched sequences in its databanks, as if our very bloodlines had been engineered to interface with the ship. I could no longer ignore the question. Were we awakening the Eidolon, or had it always been awakening us? My reflection on the darkened glass seemed alien, like I was staring at a pawn in a game older than civilization. Yet I clenched my fists. If we were tools, we would become wielders. If we were a story, we would write the ending ourselves. Admiral Vare. Fleets converged at the edge of the Orion Gate, some hostile, some uncertain, some desperate for allies. I stood on the bridge as transmissions poured in, dozens of species swearing neutrality, others begging for protection. Humanity was no longer a myth. It was a rallying cry. The Senate's control unraveled by the hour. Yet unity was fragile. Old rivalries sparked heated arguments among potential allies. Some feared the Eidolon as much as they hated the Senate. I silenced the noise with one order: let our actions decide. We would strike first at the Senate's stronghold, to prove humanity was not a ghost, but a force that shaped destiny. Commander Solus. The Senate fortress at Asterion loomed before us, its defenses unmatched, until now. The Eidolon mapped its weaknesses before we even fired a shot. My fleet wove through firestorms, frigates tearing apart orbital cannons as if the ship itself guided our hands. I felt less like a commander and more like an extension of the Eidolon's will. Inside the fortress, captured broadcasts revealed senators fleeing, their voices cracking with terror. "The myth walks again," one screamed before comms went dark. My crew exhaled in triumph, but unease gripped me. We had shattered a citadel thought eternal, but the Eidolon was evolving, adapting faster than we could comprehend. I wondered, when would its judgment fall on us? Captain Rin Arak. Victory was brief. Sensors shrieked as new anomalies emerged from the rift, more entities, each distinct, their shapes impossible. They did not advance in the Senate. They advanced on us. I ordered evasive maneuvers, but the Eidolon locked position, refusing retreat. Its core burned brighter than ever, as if daring them to come. The entities tested us, distorting weapons fire, twisting time lag across our comms. Our coalition fleets faltered, confusion spreading. Only the Eidolon struck true, its lances piercing their armorless forms. I realized the truth. The Riftborn feared the ship, not us. Humanity had inherited an ancient enemy, one that had waited millennia for our return, Admiral Vare. As we rallied against the Riftborn, betrayal struck. A Senate-aligned fleet within our coalition turned its guns on us, shredding Allied cruisers. Their admiral sneered across comms, "You are not saviors. You are extinction reborn." My fists clenched. Humanity had risen, but fear still held power greater than loyalty. The Eidolon answered betrayal with brutal precision, disabling their flagships with surgical blasts. Yet my heart ached. This war would not end with battles alone. We were fighting not just enemies, but belief itself. The Senate's lie buried so deep that even truth could not cure it. We needed more than victory. We needed revelation. Commander Solus. Deep within the ship's archives, new files were unlocked. I stood alone in the core chamber, glyphs swirling in fractal brilliance. The truth chilled me. The Eidolon was not a relic of humanity. It was a relic for humanity. Designed before us, waiting for us, shaping our rise and fall with merciless precision. The final line of data glowed in my vision. The trial is not survival. The trial is ascendancy. My breath caught. The Eidolon had not been built to defend us. It had been built to test if we could surpass ourselves, and if we failed, the galaxy would bury us again, deeper than before. Admiral Vare. Our coalition gathered near the shattered Senate fortress, fleets scarred but standing. At first, unity held, alien banners drifting beside ours, weapons locked on the abyss. But fear spread faster than faith. Some captains demanded the Eidolon be dismantled. Others whispered that humanity should be chained again before it was too late. I watched their debates spiral into chaos. Old enemies reignited grudges, weapons trained inward instead of outward. The Eidolon's presence was a flame, drawing both moths and vultures. I knew then the Riftborn did not need to destroy us. They only needed us to destroy ourselves. Commander Solus. My warnings came too late. The rift screamed open, vomiting entities larger and stranger than before. Some coiled like serpents of light, others fractured into shards that fought independently. Our coalition broke ranks in panic. Their screams filled comms as ships burned, crushed by enemies that warped reality with every movement. The Eidolon fought with terrifying calm, striking with precision that carved pathways through chaos. But even its power strained under the endless tide. I shouted orders until my throat cracked, forcing our allies to rally. Yet, for every enemy slain, 3 more emerged. It was not a battle. It was a flood. Captain Rin Arak. In the chaos, a Riftborn pierced our formation, bearing down on a coalition flagship. I knew their captain, one who had doubted us, cursed humanity to my face. Yet, when his distress call crackled, I did not hesitate. "Target it," I ordered. The Eidolon's lance split the monster in 2, saving them from certain death. The flagship limped into formation beside us, their admiral's voice shaking. "You saved us, after everything." My crew exchanged grim smiles. That was the moment fear cracked. Not erased, not gone, but softened by action. Sometimes the smallest act of mercy turned more hearts than any weapon. Admiral Vare. The Eidolon's core surged again, flooding my vision with glyphs. My officers gasped as their consoles lit with the same message. Phase 2 begins. Ascendancy required. None of us knew what it meant, but the ship did not wait for our consent. Systems recalibrated, weapon patterns shifting into sequences beyond our comprehension. My science officer whispered what we all feared: "It's testing us, forcing us higher." Every victory demanded more. Every moment of doubt carried punishment. Humanity had been erased once. Now the Eidolon itself threatened to erase us again, not through destruction, but through a standard we might never meet. Commander Solus. Sabotage struck mid-battle. Explosions ripped through one of our allied cruisers, tearing it apart from within. Survivors confirmed it wasn't the Riftborn. It was Senate loyalists, embedded spies who would rather burn than see humanity rise. Their betrayal gutted morale worse than enemy fire. The Eidolon systems identified dozens more infiltrators, sending alerts to every ship. Some captains executed suspects immediately. Others hesitated, unable to kill their own. I clenched my fists, rage burning in my chest. We were not only fighting the Riftborn outside, we were bleeding from knives planted in our backs. The trial was no longer about unity. It was about trust. Admiral Vare. The rift widened until it consumed stars, pouring out waves of rift-born leviathans. Their forms shifted constantly. Blades of crystal, storms of plasma, vast wings of light. The coalition fought like cornered beasts, desperation turning into frenzy. I barked orders, but the scale dwarfed strategy. This was survival in its rawest form. The Eidolon struck at their cores, tearing entities apart with precision blasts. Still, our losses mounted. Frigates folded into singularities, cruisers sheared by impossible angles. Yet even in ruin, our fleet refused retreat. Humanity had ignited a war beyond imagination. To falter now would mean being erased again, this time permanently. Commander Solus. While the battle raged, the Eidolon's archives unlocked further truths. Symbols aligned into language, and I saw them clearly. The Eidolon had not been built by humanity. It had been built for humanity by a civilization even older, the architects. Their design carried one purpose: to shape a species worthy of inheritance. I staggered at the implication. Humanity was not erased by accident. It was erased because we had failed the first trial. The architects had judged us unworthy once. The Eidolon was our second chance, but if we failed again, there would not be a third. My voice cracked over comms. We are not just fighting the Riftborn. We are fighting for our right to exist. Captain Rin Arak. More Riftborn emerged. No longer chaotic swarms, but disciplined legions. They moved with chilling coordination, weaving their distortions into unified strikes. It was no longer a war. It was extermination. My heart pounded as I realized they were not mere predators. They were executioners, enforcing a judgment passed long ago. The Eidolon adapted, deploying weapons I had never seen before, shards of light that folded through dimensions, carving entire legions apart. Yet for every wave we destroyed, more poured through. My crew whispered that this was not just a test, it was a sentence being carried out. The question remained, who had the power to overturn it? Admiral Vare. As we regrouped, disaster struck. A faction of coalition ships turned their weapons on us. Not Senate loyalists, but allies. Their admiral's transmission chilled my blood. The Eidolon is too dangerous. Humanity must be ended before it dooms us all. Plasma fire cut into our flanks. Allies became executioners. I ordered retaliation, but my heart sank. We had bled for them, saved them, fought beside them, and still they betrayed us. The Riftborn closed in as coalition guns tore at our ships. Humanity stood in the center, attacked from without and within. For a fleeting moment I feared the architects would deem us unworthy again. Commander Solus. The battlefield devolved into madness. Coalition fleets split apart, some shielding us, some abandoning us, others joining the betrayal. Riftborn leviathans feasted on the chaos, ripping ships in half as screams filled the comms. This was not a war. This was Judgment Day. Through the chaos, the Eidolon's voice thundered across every channel. Ascendancy requires sacrifice. I felt its meaning like a blade in my chest. Humanity could not win by clinging to fragile alliances. We would have to rise alone, or not at all. My fists shook as I gave the order. Break formation. Protect our fleet. Let the galaxy choose its own fate. Admiral Vare. The order was given. Sever ties. Fight alone. For the first time since our return, the human fleet formed a wall with no banners but our own. Betrayers peeled away, defenders scattered. We stood isolated, facing both Riftborn and traitors. My bridge crew trembled, but in their eyes I saw fire. The Eidolon pulsed as if approving. Its weapons aligned with our ships, amplifying every salvo, synchronizing every defense. Together, we carved a path through the storm. The galaxy had turned its back on us, but humanity had something stronger than allies. We had resolved by extinction. Commander Solus. The Eidolon's voice burned in my thoughts. Sacrifice defines worth. A sequence appeared, an equation demanding choice. 100 ships targeted by Riftborn convergences. We could save half, maybe fewer. My officers stared at me, waiting. I felt sick. We chose. Dozens of ships fell, their crews screaming into the void. But the survivors pressed on, their gratitude laced with grief. My hands shook. Was this the test? That leadership meant condemning as much as saving. If so, then humanity's greatest strength was not mercy, it was endurance through guilt. Captain Rin Arak. Between waves, the Eidolon released a pulse, an echo mapped to our navigation charts. It was a signal, buried deep beneath layers of encryption older than most empires. When decrypted, it formed a single image. Earth, not forgotten, not destroyed, preserved. The bridge fell silent. Earth was not myth. It was a vault, sealed beyond detection. The architects had hidden it, waiting for us to earn the right to return. My heart thundered. If we survived this trial, the reward was not survival alone. It was the reclamation of the world that birthed us. Admiral Vare. The rift trembled as a shape larger than moons emerged. A single entity, its body a cathedral of shifting glass and fire. The others bowed to it, rift-born silence echoing like worship. My officers whispered one name, the King. This was no predator. This was command incarnate. Its gaze fell upon the Eidolon, and the battlefield froze. Then it spoke, not in sound, but in gravity that bent through our halls. Second chance denied. My blood ran cold. It was not here to test us. It was here to end us, once and for all. Commander Solus. The King unleashed storms that erased fleets in seconds. Our allies disintegrated like ash in flame. Yet humanity held the line, ships weaving through impossible barrages. Every officer fought with teeth bared, as if carrying the weight of every forgotten ancestor. The Eidolon merged with our systems, awakening weapons we could not name. Beams curved across dimensions, cutting the King's servants apart. My chest swelled as I shouted into comms, "This is humanity's stand. Not forgotten, not erased, not this time." The King roared, and the battlefield became fire. Admiral Vare. The rift-born King raised its arms and reality tore apart. Entire sectors folded inward, stars snuffed like candles. Our fleet shuddered under impossible pressure, gravity wells tearing ships in half. I felt my bones scream as if the void itself wanted me erased. Yet the Eidolon held. Its core flared, projecting barriers not of metal, but of raw will. A resonance with our own defiance. Every ship linked through it, and for a heartbeat, humanity resisted the judgment of a god. My voice broke as I whispered, "We will not bow." Commander Solus. The Eidolon bared its arsenal. Towers unfolded from their hulls, casting lances of light that curved across dimensions, severing rift-born by their essence. My crew gasped as the ship rewrote physics, weaponizing truths older than stars. But each weapon demanded a price. Our own energy, our own lives linked into its system. Consoles sparked, officers collapsed, drained by the Eidolon's hunger. I clenched my teeth and gave the order to continue. If this were the architect's will, then humanity would bleed until the void itself remembered us. Captain Rin Arak. In our darkest hour, the traitors struck again. Coalition warships still loyal to the Senate's lie appeared behind us, weapons burning. They thought to finish us while the rift-born King tore us apart. But the Eidolon turned its gaze on them. Its voice rolled like thunder. Unworthy. Their ships withered in seconds, erased from every sensor, every memory. Even their wreckage dissolved into nothing. My blood chilled. The architects were not testing only humanity. They were judging the entire galaxy. Admiral Vare. As the King pressed harder, the Eidolon's core shifted. This time, it was not the architects who spoke. A new voice filled my mind, gentle, ancient, familiar. Earth. My throat tightened as images surged. Oceans, mountains, cities lost to myth. Our home had not been destroyed. It had been waiting. The message was clear. Come home. Tears blurred my vision as I realized Earth itself had become part of the trial, hidden until we proved worthy. If we survived the King, we would not just win a war. We would reclaim our birthright. Commander Solus. The Eidolon flared with Earth's signal, and for the first time, the rift-born faltered. Their king roared, but its storm broke against our light. Every ship in the fleet ignited with renewed fire, our weapons tearing holes in the endless tide. I shouted across comms, my voice raw. We are not myths. We are not forgotten. We are humanity, and we are unbound. The battlefield shook with our defiance. For the first time, I saw fear ripple through the rift-born king. The trial was reaching its end. Admiral Vare. The rift-born king shattered moons as weapons, hurling their remains at our fleet. Each impact tore holes in the formation, but we refused to collapse. Our ships wove through fire and stone, returning volleys with fury born of desperation. This was no longer a strategy. It was survival against the impossible. The Eidolon plunged forward, striking the king directly. Its core burned white, each beam carrying centuries of rage. The king reeled but did not fall. Its form cracked, revealing endless layers of screaming light. I gripped the rail and whispered, "So, this is what gods look like when they bleed." Commander Solus. The Eidolon spoke again, its voice colder than ever. Final trial. Unity or extinction. An option lit every console across the fleet. We could merge our ships into the Eidolon's core, fusing lives, power, and will into a single weapon. But doing so meant no return. Our individuality erased forever. My crew stared at me, faces pale. Was this the price of survival? To win by surrendering what made us human? I closed my eyes, feeling the weight of generations lost. The architects demanded an answer. Would we remain fractured mortals, or ascend as something else entirely? Captain Rin, Iraq. The rift-born king sensed our hesitation and struck with fury. Beams of inverted light carved through our flanks, tearing apart destroyers by the dozen. Gravity folded ships into singular screams before silence claimed them. But humanity did not break. The Eidolon's shield flared brighter, fueled by every life still standing. My crew shouted in unison, defying the void itself. Even as death closed in, we refused to yield. Choice or not, humanity would answer the architects on our own terms. Admiral Vare. The Eidolon demanded a decision. I opened a fleet-wide channel, my voice raw. We are asked to surrender ourselves, to become something else. But humanity is not a machine. We are scars, we are triumphs, we are stubborn will. If the architects cannot accept us as we are, then they can watch us defy them. Cheering erupted through the comms. Ships locked in formation, not merging, but standing united as individuals. The Eidolon hesitated, as if shocked. Its core trembled, then surged, adapting to our refusal. Perhaps this, not surrender, was what the architects had awaited. Not compliance, defiance. Commander Solus. With our choice made, the Eidolon unleashed its full arsenal, not as a single fused weapon, but as a symphony of human defiance. Every ship became a blade, every captain a spark. The battlefield lit like a second sun. The rift-born king staggered under the onslaught, its cathedral body cracking into shards of burning glass. For the first time, it howled in pain. I gripped my console, tears burning in my eyes. We had chosen to remain human, and that choice had given us strength beyond any design. The endgame had begun. Admiral Vare. The rift-born king split itself into 1,000 shards, each carrying its fury. They descended like blades of living light, slicing through void and steel. Entire cruisers dissolved into silence. Yet our fleet held the line, fighting not against despair, but with purpose born of blood. The Eidolon pulsed, mapping the king's fragments. Core located, it whispered through every hull. My chest tightened. We would have one chance, one strike to end a being older than empires. Humanity's blades aligned for the final thrust. Commander Solus. We drove into the king's heart, a wound in the rift where reality bent like glass. Ships disintegrated around us, swallowed by distortions. My knuckles whitened on the controls. This was no battlefield. It was execution ground. The Eidolon cut a path, each strike tearing deeper toward the core. My crew shouted, half mad with terror, but no one faltered. Ahead, I saw it. The King's essence, a star inverted, pulsing with infinite malice. My voice cracked. All ships, fire everything. Captain Rin Arak. Our weapons converged as one. Beams lanced, missiles screamed, the Eidolon unleashed its final torrent. The King howled, its cathedral body splintering into collapsing shards. Its roar became silence as the rift itself recoiled. But victory was not triumph. The explosion consumed half our fleet, and friends and allies were erased in fire. Only fragments of humanity endured, but enough. The rift-born king was gone. The void lay still for the first time in ages. We had slain a god, Admiral Vare. The Eidolon dimmed, its voice echoing one last time. Trial complete. Verdict worthy, not because you obeyed, because you defied. The architects had not sought perfection. They had sought resistance. Humanity's refusal to surrender was our ascension. Then the Eidolon released us. Its systems went silent, weapons folding inward. For a moment, I felt grief, as though losing a companion. Yet in its silence, I heard another call. Earth, waiting, alive. Our journey was not over. It was only the beginning. Commander Solus. Stars bent as the Eidolon charted our final course. At last, the veil lifted. Earth appeared, not broken, not barren, but radiant. Oceans shimmered, continents pulsed with light as if the planet itself had dreamed of us all this time. My throat tightened. Home. Our battered fleet descended, survivors weeping as clouds parted. Humanity, once erased, had endured gods, betrayals, and extinction, and returned stronger. I stood at the bridge, whispering the only words that mattered. We are remembered. The end. Thank you for watching AstroMyths. If you enjoyed this story, smash that like button and subscribe for more epic sci-fi tales, cosmic mysteries, and mind-bending myths. And if you like this story, or have a myth, mystery, or galaxy you'd like us to explore, drop your ideas in the comments. We're always listening. Until next time, keep your eyes on the stars and your mind open to the unknown.